So good morning. Yeah, please. Yeah, so we'll just start with today's class. So if you remember in the previous class, we were looking at switch capacitor circuits. I'm changing slides. Hope it is appearing there. Yeah. So in today's class, we'll continue. So if you remember, we came to switch capacitor discussion by looking at one of the problem in hold phase. During hold phase, you have charge injection problem. From charge injection problem, we have come to a solution called as bottom plate sampling. And after bottom plate sampling, we were looking at if you have some charge in the capacitor, how will you process it further? So on that note, we started processing by transferring the charge to another capacitor. Then we formed the circuit of a switch capacitor integrator. Then we also saw about switch capacitor circuits by in integrated circuits. If you want high resistance, we will simulate the performance of resistors with the help of more switches and on-chip capacitors. That is what we have seen. So in today's class, we'll continue our discussion, and what we will do is we will actually have again we will look at sampling phase, because when you look at a sample and hold circuit, we know that there are two phases. One is sampling phase and another one is hold phase. And we have seen some of the problems in the hold phase. One is charge injection, another one is clock feed through, and another one is the noise. The noise will be in the circuit, whether it is in sampling phase or hold phase, noise will be there. Now, if we specifically look at the issues in sampling phase, we haven't dealt in that detail. So that we will do today. So what are the issues in sampling phase and what is the solution for that? So if you look at a simple sample and hold circuit where input is connected here to the source side, and this is your clock. Usually we'll represent clock having a signal which is swinging from 0 to VDD, and this is a capacitor C. Right. Now, whenever the switch is on, so when this works on a clock pulse of this form, say this is 5, and whenever the clock is high, the switch is on. Whenever the switch is on, we know that the on resistance is equal to 1 by mu n C of W by L into VGS minus VT, but in this case it is equal to VDD minus V in minus VT. Right. Now, if you look at the body terminal, so because we are discussing all these things, how we will implement this on an integrated circuit, so the body terminal is also important. So in the case of a N MOSFET, again, depending on the process what we use, if we are assuming it as an N-well process, so the body will be connected to the ground, the least potential available, which is ground, right? So even though you all are sitting in class with your mobiles, I don't know what you're actually looking in that. Yeah. Hope that the screen, whatever I'm sharing, is on your friend's screen. Now, if you look at, so your source terminal will be grounded. So in that case, I can write what is VSB in this case. Yeah, so VSB also in this case, VSB is equal to Vin because body is grounded, right? Now, if you consider these two things, I can tell you one thing, because as Vin increases, what will happen? What will happen to VT? Yeah, so as Vin increases, definitely you can see the on resistance will change. And if you look at the threshold voltage again depends on the substrate body potential. Since your Vin is equal to VSB, as Vin increases, you can see that threshold also increases. Right. If this happens, what will happen? The on resistance, what will happen to the on resistance? It will also increase, right? Because you have negative terms here, so on resistance will actually increase. Now, if you look at the sampling and hold circuit as a simple RC, because whenever the switch is on, when the MOSFET is on, it is actually a simple resistance. So if you look at this as a simple RC network, an RC network, where this is your V in and this is your V out, and this resistance is your on resistance R on, and this is your whole capacitor C. As V in varies, because of the threshold variation, your on resistance will increase, and that in turn will affect actually the bandwidth of the circuit. Because what is bandwidth for the simple RC circuit? it will be 1 by 2 pi RC. Now I am telling that this R is actually increasing. Now, if this R increases, what will happen to bandwidth? Bandwidth will definitely drop. Now, how can you restore bandwidth, or how can I have a control over bandwidth? Is at this moment we have only one variable, that is W by L. By playing around with W by L, we can actually have a whatever bandwidth we want, we can do that. But again, there will be compromise in that, because we cannot include a very huge transistor only for this sake. So this is one of the, we can say, one of the limitation in the sampling phase, which is actually bandwidth limitation. Right. But to some extent, we can have a good choice of W by L, which can give you whatever bandwidth or whatever signals you want to process. Right. So bandwidth limitation is one of the concern. In similar lines, again, if I look at, I change the slide, whether it is reflecting there. Yeah. Now, again, if I look at the on resistance, the expression of on resistance, it is mu n Cox W by L into VDD minus Vin minus Vt. So this is the on resistance formula. Now, one another thing what we can notice here is, as Vin changes, what will happen to R on? Yeah, so Vin is actually in the denominator term, and now when Vin changes, R1 will definitely vary. So what type of variation can we expect? Will it be a linear variation? No, it will definitely, it is not a linear variation. So I can say that R1 will actually vary non-linearly. Right. Now, whenever there is a non-linear variation, what can be the ultimate result of that whenever non-linearity comes into picture? Yeah, it will lead to distortions. Yeah, we have actually discussed about those things even in the in our previous course of RF and millimeter wave. Now, again, we'll actually discuss that here. Now, if R is varying, now you have a signal coming to the sampling circuit. The sampling circuit will also offer a phase. There will be definitely a phase shift. What will be the phase shift of this simple RC network? Yeah, so it will be tan inverse of omega RC. Now, if this R on, whenever I write R, actually it is R on. Now, if R on is having a nonlinear variation, that will also result in a phase variation. So when I say phase variation, it is ultimately leading to some kind of phase distortion, right? Because the variation in R on is nonlinear. Now, so if I look at all these things, how I can model my sampling circuit is, so this is V out, this is V in, and this resistance is actually a varying resistance, which is actually a nonlinear resistance, right? Yeah, amplitude variation is actually V in, right?
No, so let's say, is it so? You have a sinusoidal signal.
Yes.
And you are trying to sample that at a particular distance.
Right.
So this thing is going to be basically tracking the signal for the during the course of the variation, and what at the bottom edge of the falling edge of the graph
Right.
is where it samples.
Right.
This point. So since you are interested in only at that particular point, the phase variation will not be much of concern. Right?
Yeah. So if you look at the concern thing, yeah, phase distortion. Yeah, to some level we can think that, but definitely there will be distortion, right?
Yes, but it's not going to affect.
Not in the phase, but what about the amplitude part?
Amplitude.
Yes. So, yeah. So I am just looking at the non-linearity part as of now. So yeah, the contribution towards phase. Yeah, if you look at the simple RC, yeah, the phase contribution will be not that much. But again, when you go for a very accurate, precise data conversion system, these also will definitely we have to consider. Even if I keep it separate also, I need to model this resistance as a nonlinear resistance. If that is the case, now I'm trying to analyze this. So say I am assuming that my input is a, I'm just looking at the amplitude distortion now. Okay. So input, I'm assuming it as a sine wave, which is a cos omega t, right? Now, so generally what we do is if this r is small, we always assume that. So actually what is this V out? In presence of R, say for example, the drop across R is say some Vx, I can write V out as V in minus Vx. This is what actually happening. You have a resistance there and there will be a drop across the resistance. Your output will be input minus a drop. But in most of the cases, we will approximate this equal to V in. This is what we usually do for our for the analysis. Now, if I'm looking at the Vx part, what is Vx basically? Voltage across the resistance. Yeah, it is actually the current flowing through the capacitor into the resistance value, right? So I will write it as the current flowing through the capacitor, which is IC of t into R. Right. Now I am looking at this resistance R as a nonlinear component. Since I know that this R is nonlinear, how can I better represent R? R is nonlinear. How can I represent them? A linear component, and I need to attach the nonlinear. How will you generally attach nonlinearity? By using the Taylor series. Yeah. So I'll write it as R on. That is the value what I'm expecting, plus I'm just using different notation, R1 V in plus R2 V in square plus etc. This is how I can actually model the resistance. Now, if I write what is IC of t, IC of t is what? The current through the capacitor. So I can write it as, yeah, C into dV out, which is the voltage across the capacitor by dt. Current through the capacitor, right? Now, I can also write this as, so if I am neglecting the drop across the resistance, I will write this as C into dV in by dt. Now what is V in? V in is A cos omega t. So dV in by dt is equal to, what is it, minus A omega into cos omega t. Right. So this analysis is just to see the nonlinear part and then to understand that, okay, so there is a nonlinearity, we need to actually do something. So instead of telling that in a statement, I'm trying to express it. What happened? Oh, yeah. Right. So what is IC of t in this case? IC of t is minus A C omega sine omega t. Right. Now, with this, if I write what is Vx, what is Vx? Vx is a drop across the resistance, which is this current into the resistance value. What is this current? Minus AC omega sine omega t into the resistance value is R on plus R1 V in square plus R2, sorry, R1 V in plus R2 V in square plus etc. Now again, if I work on this, I can write this. I'm writing this expression directly. Definitely you can do that. Minus A C omega sin omega t into R naught. And I'm just multiplying this inside. So it will be, V in is again A cos omega t, right? So I'm substituting that. So it will be minus A square C into omega into R1 into sin omega t into cos omega t. Again minus A cube into C into omega into R2 into V in square. So it is cos square omega t into sin omega t. Right. So by writing this expression only, we know that there are distortion components. Now, so instead of writing V out as just V in, I'm just bringing this V out as V in minus Vx, which I have written before. So I can write now V out as V in is A cos omega t. Now minus this term. So it is plus A into, I'm just rearranging it, A R naught into C omega into sin omega t. Again plus A square into R1 into C omega into sin omega t cos omega t. plus a cube into R2 into C omega into sin omega t cos square omega t, right? And plus etc. This is how I can represent that. I hope you are with me. Those who have joined online, if you have questions, please hold on. Yeah. Now, so when I write the, since there are a few terms which I can expand and write in a better form. So your final V out expression will be a cos omega t plus a r naught a r naught c omega sin omega t plus a square r1 c omega. Yeah, so that sin omega t cos omega t can be written as, yeah. So I'll write this as by 2 into sin 2 omega t plus a cube r2 c omega into, there will be one term sin omega t plus the last term will be, I think this is by 4, right? Yeah. So a cube r2 c omega into sin 3 omega t by 4. Yeah. So why we wrote or why we have done this exercise is, we know that whenever we can state directly that there is non-linearity because from the expression of on resistance itself, we can say that as your voltage V varies, there will be non-linear resistance. But by modeling also, we can actually see that there are components at 2 omega t, there are components at 3 omega t, and or in short, I can say that this is actually resulting in harmonic distortion. So even though we are sampling a specific frequency signal, we are getting at the output of a sampling circuit, we are actually getting additional frequency components which are appearing at the harmonics of the fundamental frequency, which is not a good thing, because whenever you can observe this both in time domain and frequency domain. In time domain, you will see there is a distortion in the waveform itself. The waveform will not be preserving the shape, whatever you have at the input. In the frequency domain, you will see there are additional components coming along with your fundamental components, right? Again, the seriousness of this depends on the, we know that the operating frequency, harmonic distortion means from 2 omega naught onwards, you will have various components. But whatever it is, for any system, in general, nonlinearity is not a good thing. So now we have to see some options where I can reduce. What I need to do here is I need to actually reduce the value of, value in the sense, these things I need to reduce. What I can say is these components, right? So, or in turn, what I can say, ultimately what I need is, I need a resistance of switch, and that resistance must be, can tell me what is our ultimate need here? The variation should be linear. So now what is the problem? The resistance is depending on your input signal. That is the problem. So what should be our ultimate objective now to move on? Yeah, so that means the resistance should be independent of what? Yeah, the resistance should be independent of input signal. Resistance should be independent of input signal. Now, again, if I look at the switch, what we can see here is, this is V in, this is VDD, and say this is, consider this as an NMOS switch. This is a condition. Now, if I look at VGS, what is VGS coming? VGS is V in minus, sorry. VGS is VDD minus V in, right? Now, I can say this is proportional to VGS minus VT. For the time being, I am just neglecting the variation with respect to threshold, because the other variation itself I have something. So now you can see that if your V in varies, VGS varies. If your VGS varies, your R1 varies. That is a condition. That is the initial point of discussion. I'm just neglecting the variation of VT for now. What I want to make here is I want to make VGS. So if VGS is independent of Vin, if VGS is independent of Vin or input, I can actually assure linear operation. Will you agree to this? Yeah. So if your VGS is independent of V, actually I can assure linear operation because your resistance will be constant. You will not see any nonlinear variation there. Right. Now the question is, how can I make VGS independent of V? Huh? NMOS switch? NMOS switch connected to gate means you have to use another NMOS switch. And what I should do with that switch? VDD will be not directly connected to? No, the problem is not that, right? The problem is, Vin is a problem. Any thoughts? So I'll just another PMOS. Looking for a this one transmission gate. Yeah, even in transmission gate, see when we have a combination of those two, we will draw the on resistance as almost constant, but it is not actually constant. Yeah, you have a nonlinearity even over there. Yeah, so now I cannot make Vin always equal to VDD, right? Because Vin is something which is coming into your sampling circuit. So if your Vin is always a constant thing, then we have no problem and no need of sampling.
What we can do is that the gate potential should be VDD plus VL.
Yes, exactly. That is what we are looking for, right? Correct. So look at this. Look at this scenario. What I need here is during track phase, this is my need, right? Track or sampling phase, this is the need, and in hold phase, what should happen? Yeah, this is V in hold phase. Your gate should actually go to ground. Now, only during sampling phase, if you can make your gate connection as VDD plus Vin, that will work, right? So look at this. We know that VGS is equal to VGS minus VT equal to VDD minus Vin minus VT. Now, if I can make VG as VDD plus Vin, then this VGS minus VT will definitely will be independent of Vin. That is our ultimate need. So if VG is this, then you can say your VGS minus VT or your VGS is basically, yeah, VGS is VDD. Yeah, VGS will be VDD, correct. Yeah, then we are actually out of the problem. Now, since we know that we need to connect a VDD during sampling phase. So during sampling phase, your gate should have VDD plus V. During hold phase, that should be connected to ground. Now the next question is, how is that possible? Connect? Correct. So now I have a capacitor here. This is V in and this is your V out. So what I need is during sampling phase, this node should be connected to gate. Plus VDD. That means in turn I need to actually do something like this. I need to connect something like this. Correct, no? Now if this is VDD, I can say that what is this potential? This potential is V in plus VDD. But anyway, I cannot directly bring in a battery and place it wherever I want in a integrated circuit. That is not possible. So this is what I need to do. But this is in track phase. But what should happen in your hold phase? This should be out. So your gate should be free from this, and this should be connected to ground. Right. So this is during sampling. This is during sampling. So if I can make sure that your VG is VDD plus V in, during sampling I can say that your R on will be or it should be constant. That is my need. Is that okay? Your Vg will be equal to VDD plus V. Now what should happen in whole phase? During whole phase, the switch has to be off. The switch to be turned off, your Vg should be equal to 0. That means I need this battery only during sampling phase. Whole phase I don't want that. Or during whole phase, the problem is if I connect a battery like this, no, battery has to operate. Battery will be there, and I'm not expecting any current to flow through the battery at least during the whole phase, because that will again cause problem. So what best way I can do this? One thing is definitely I need switches, because this is something which I need only in sampling phase, and in whole phase I don't want that. So switches are required. Now how can I bring in a VDD charge to the gate? Connect. Yeah, so one thing we should understand that I cannot bring in a battery and directly place it over there. That is not possible in, at least in integrated circuit. When I play around with discrete circuits, I can actually do it. Right? When I have I have huge space and I can bring lot many voltage, but that is not a good way to do also. So whenever we do ICs, whenever we do designs, how to make design compact is we'll have only single supply line, and whatever we want we'll generate from that supply line. That is a common practice. Now, yeah, so that is not possible. So the possible option here is if I can use a capacitor and if I can charge this to VDD, and if this capacitor is available between the gate and the input side during sampling time, that problem is solved. And during whole phase, this capacitor should not have any effect. That means I should actually connect this across some switches, right? So the best way to connect is so this is your switch. This is Vin. Now what I need here, I need a VDD that should be connected to gate. So that how I will do that is I'll actually take a capacitor, charge that to VDD, and I'll connect to gate. When I'll connect? During sampling phase. That means I'll actually have a switch here. I'll have a switch there, and I'll also have a switch here. This is a capacitor C. Now how this is working? What time this should be closed? Yeah, so see that phi1 is a sampling phase and phi2 is the whole phase. Yeah, so the switch will be off during phi1. Anish got upset by seeing this. Yeah, I think Anish got upset by this. Okay. And this also should be phi1. Yeah, any questions on this? Here I assume that C is having that charge, but I should actually make sure, I should make sure how that can be charged. Yes. Any questions? Yeah, that I should do. Now I assume that if C is holding a charge, like holding a voltage of VDD, this will work. But at the same time, one more thing I should do, right? Sampling phase is okay, but with the assumption that capacitor is holding that voltage. Now during whole phase, what should happen? This phi1 will be off. That time gate should be connected to ground. So I should do this connection here. This should be connected to phi2. Is that clear? Yes, I need 2 more switches. For what? Ground. Very good. Correct. So if I need to charge capacitor, can I assume that okay, I'll charge a capacitor and I'll charge a capacitor to VDD and I'll just place it over there. Will it work? Definitely it will not work. Initially it may, but definitely we know that there will be leakage. There will be leakage current within the switches as well. So I need to refresh the voltage across the capacitor, refresh the charges. So to do that, what I will do is I'll actually connect this to VDD. Then I'll have one switch here, which I'll connect here. Then I'll have another switch here, which I'll connect here. And what I need here is, so anyway, during whole phase, the capacitor is sitting idle. I'll use that time for charging this, right? So what I'll do, I'll connect this with phi2, this also with phi2. right? Is okay? Yeah. So this way of actually connecting this switch, uh, this way of adding all these switch together, we call this switch as bootstrapped sampling switch. Otherwise, we call this as gate boosted sampling switch. Right. So we have I have simply presented the idea. Now the question is, how will I implement? Initially, what I wanted only one switch. Now I ended up in, how many switches I have now? Yeah, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 additional switches now. Now I should see how I should properly choose these switches and how I'll make the rest of the connection so that the sampling switch will work, right? So we'll wind up here. Most probably I'll tell you what I'll do for the rest of the thing. So this is called as bootstrap sampling switch, and we should also see that these switches should be all these switches will be replaced with transistors. So can I use an NMOS transistor or a PMOS or a transmission gate depending on what voltages it should actually transfer, right? So we will continue our discussion.